2011, right? Most of my drug stories occur in 2011 because I had just graduated high school and I was at my absolute peak recklessness, right? As far as like substances are concerned, that's when I was at my peak reckless phase. And I was never really that reckless, but you know what I mean. I was just doing a lot of things back then. So me and my cousin, and I'm not going to say the names of my other two buddies, but we were big into mushrooms for like 6 weeks, right? These are the same guys I was with during my 2CI adventure, right? So we were big on mushrooms. We had done mushrooms probably 2 weekends in a row at this point going forward, right? I believe. So we were big on it. This is like something that we look forward to all week. Like I remember at this point in my life, like me, my cousin, my two friends would be hyped. There was no group chats yet at this point. Like, no, I think maybe iPhones had group chats in 2011, but I did not have an iPhone. I had like an NV2 or some shit. Like I did not have an iPhone at this point. So we didn't have group chats. We were all running pretty scuffed phones. Like my buddy AJ, who was with us, he worked at the Verizon stand and he got like a new phone. I remember he had this dumbass big phone that was like this big and had a little kickstand on the back. It was a Verizon phone. I think it was like a Lightning or something is what it was called. But he was the only one with like even a semi-competent phone. The rest of us were running like basically Boost Mobiles out here at this point, right? So, but like I remember communicating. Everyone was communicating with the four of each other. I don't know how to say that properly. All four of us were communicating in different text chains to each other at the same time about how excited we were to do Boomers this weekend because Jackass 3D was coming out. And we were so sick. Gas Pump is one of them. Yes, my cousin Gas Pump, for sure. And so we were so excited. Jackass 3D is coming out this weekend. We're fucking so hyped. So actually it might have been 2010 actually, I think, now that I think about it. So yeah, it might have been 2010, fall of 2010, I think. So Jackass 3D comes out. We're super stoked. Like our idea is we're going to go ahead and we're going to do Boomers and we're going to go see this movie at the movie theater on opening night. Fucking horrible idea, by the way, if you've ever done psychedelics at all. Going to a crowded Carasotes movie theater is not the way to go. Like, not fun whatsoever. So we're like, you know what? We got tickets to opening night. Not really thinking about the fact that this shit's going to be sold out and packed. And Jackass maybe isn't the best thing to watch when you're on psychedelics. You know, you start to overanalyze something. And overanalyzing a man flying a kite with anal beads is probably not where you want to be when you're on a psychedelic bender. You know? It is what it is. So we're like, okay, dude, we're stoked. So we get to the movie theater. I'm not kidding. 2.5 hours before this movie starts, right? Because we're like, no, when we see this movie, we're going to be full peak. Like, there's no way, dude. We're not going to watch this movie at even a semi-peak. Like, we're going, and we are getting there as soon as the Boomers are at their maximum capacity, right? Because we're trying to time it properly. So, you know, we're there for like 2 hours. We're like smoking weed in the 2000 Ford Taurus, you know, in the parking lot. We're kicking it. We're waiting for the mushrooms to kick in. You know, we're having a good time. We're listening to some music. I had downloaded, this was back when FrostWire was a thing. Like, there's no Spotify. No, I had basically poisoned my parents' computer to get this playlist of trip tracks going, right? I downloaded the best of the best at this point, which consisted of a lot of Bone Thugs and Harmony, a lot of Slightly Stupid. I don't remember what else. I think there was some stuff called Crime Syndicate. Bunch of like jam bands and very chill weed smoking music. That's all that was on this. I called it Hippie Jams Volume 2. That was the playlist we were running on my iPod Mini, dude. So we were hanging out in the car for a solid 2 hours before this movie started, right? We had the tickets already. We were good. So we go into the movie theater. It is fucking packed. I don't know what we thought, but like, holy shit. The mushrooms started to hit. We walk into the movie theater. It's packed, dude. We're like, oh no, dude. So we're like kind of tripping at this point. We got about 30 minutes before the movie starts. So we're like, whatever. My buddy AJ is with us. And he didn't eat the Boomers, right? So he decided that he wasn't going to eat them tonight. I don't remember. I think he had something to do the next day. But he was with us anyway, and which is perfect because he was going to drive the car. So he was going to drive us around that night. So it's all good, you know, it worked out. Well, what ended up happening was we had bought an ounce of mushrooms prior for this night, and we were going to split it 4 ways because we had been eating them pretty consistently prior to this. So like a quarter wasn't really that crazy. It was definitely more intense than it should have been, and I highly recommend that you never eat that much. But it was something that we could manage. But when he dropped out, we took the last eighth and we split it up. So instead of eating like a little under a quarter, because inevitably we probably got shorted at that time straight up, we ended up splitting it up. So we added an extra like 1.5 to all of ours, which went from like a manageable amount to a super not manageable amount. All it takes is just that little bit more sometimes. And that's what happened. We were fucking bugging, dude. Like, I was staring at the popcorn being made. Like, we walked in the movie theater, we gave them our tickets, we walked in. I walked straight over to like the little popcorn machine, and I was just staring at it, dude. And this like little 16-year-old is working the counter and is so fucking confused because this, and I wasn't even a grown man, but this other dude just rolls up and is just staring at the popcorn like it's the most amazing thing they've ever seen in their entire life. Like, I'm bugging. I'm yelling at my friends. I'm like, guys. I'm like, gas pump. Dude, you gotta come check this out. And he's like, what? And I was like, dude. And then we're looking at the popcorn being made, and we're both sitting there like SpongeBob and Patrick when they had their like eyes down and their mouth wide open in that famous picture that's on a bunch of rolling trays at sketchy smoke shops. You know what I mean? And we're bugging out. We're laughing. We're freaking out. We're like, whoa. We're like reacting to it like it's a movie. Like, it'll start popping a little bit more and it starts bubbling over the top. We're like, oh. These workers were staring at us like they were so confused. And if they had been anything other than like underpaid minimum wage workers on a weekend, Saturday night, they definitely would have called the cops for sure. But they did not get paid enough for that shit at all. So, you know, we're sitting there, we're having a great time. Buddy AJ's sober, so he's like, guys, you guys got to stop doing this. Like, you have to stop marveling at the popcorn machine. We're like, oh, come on, man. So the thing you need to know about mushrooms is they have a very finite amount of time, right? You can schedule mushrooms. Something when it comes to like acid, 2CI, any other heavy duty, you know, psychedelic, you can't schedule it because it could last anywhere from 6-7 hours to fucking 24. Like, you don't know, you know, especially if it's stuff you've never gotten before, you have no idea. You can't schedule it. Mushrooms, very consistent. Very, very consistent. You know for an absolute fact that your peak is going to last for about, depending on the person, roughly around 2 to 3 hours is kind of when your peak's going to last. Some people say it's an hour and a half. I personally think it's like 2 or 3 hours depending on the person. And then it ends after about 5 hours. About 5 hours, you're still feeling kind of weird, but the visuals are gone and you're functionally normal again. So we had this whole night planned up. So my buddy AJ's like, guys, I got an idea. So there's a little arcade in this movie theater, which I believe it's still at this movie theater. There's an arcade, I think. So he's like, all right, dude, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go play some DDR. And at first we're like, dude, nobody wants to watch you play DDR, because he was like really good at DDR. And he was very proud of how good he was at Dance Dance Revolution, right? This was like, besides how good he was at Warcraft, this was like the thing he was most proud of, was DDR. So we're like, nobody wants to watch you play DDR. We were trying to play House of the Dead 3 for a second, I think, or 2 or something. And that was going about as poorly as you would expect. And then I look over and I see my other buddy. One of my best friends is there, obviously, too, because there's 3 of us tripping. And I see him just astonished. Dude, like, he is laughing. He's like doing this thing that I haven't seen him do since he was a child. All right, so my best friend, when he used to get excited, he used to do this, and this is when he's like 5, right? He used to do this thing where he'd like wiggle his fingers, kind of like he was like doing something meticulous like that. You know, he used to do that when he was a little kid. He'd get excited and he would be like this. And my dad used to make fun of him, still does all the time. I look over and I see him doing that. And I have not seen him do that since we were seriously like 6 years old. So I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? I was like, dude, first I was concerned. I was like, damn, he's having a bad reaction to the massive quantity of mushrooms we just ate. And then I look around the corner a little bit and I see his actual face, and he is having a fucking blast. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And then I noticed my buddy is playing Dance Dance Revolution, and he is fucking it up. Like, this man is going so hard on DDR. He is on the hardest difficulty, absolutely crushing this Cascada song. I think it was every time we touch, I get this feeling. Copyright. Literally crushing it, dude. Like, I mean, this had to be like an all-time best run for him. I don't know, dude. Like, he didn't miss any of those fucking little arrows. Like, he was absolutely going to town on this shit. So we all stopped what we were doing and we watched. And not only did we watch, there were some little kids who rolled up and they were watching too. He was crushing this shit. So we're like bugging out. We're clapping for him, dude. We're hyping him up. Like, everything's starting to move now. Like, all the lights coming off the machine are just like beaming. They're all moving. All the patterns are moving. We're loving life at this moment. Turns out we were loving life a little bit too much because we ended up being 5 minutes late for the start of the movie, which is fine, except they have a dude checking tickets out front and he does not look pleased with us at all. Like, because we don't even know how to communicate. Like, some of us couldn't find our tickets. Like, he thought we were trying to like get in there for free and stuff. Like, it was like a whole thing. So he was all pissed or whatever, but we finally got in there. We had no seats, so we had to go sit. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe we had to sit, like, we had to ask somebody to switch seats so we could sit together. I'm pretty sure. Like, I rolled up on some random guy and I was like, hey bro, can you move so we can sit together? Because we're friends. We're like best friends and we need to like sit together. And this guy just probably looked at me like I was absolutely special, you know? Because I just rolled up and I started talking about how I was with my best friends and we needed to sit together because we're best friends, and like some other mushroom gibberish that doesn't make any sense to anyone who's not on psychedelics. So he's just like, okay, yeah, fine. Yeah, dude, that's cool. Like, all right, I'll move. So we got to sit next to each other. Movie's already going. You know, the movie itself is uneventful. I actually remember that we didn't watch very much of the movie because the movie theater had light strips on the floor, and there was a point in time where me and my cousin were hitting each other back and forth in the arm, laughing hysterically, looking at these light strips on the ground. Like, I mean, dying, dude. Like, I had tears coming down my face. We were laughing so hard because these light strips were moving, and then people were walking by, and it looked like they had light up shoes. It was a whole thing. We were fucking dying. I have probably not laughed that hard in a movie situation probably since I saw Borat when I was 14 at the movie theater. Like, that was probably the hardest I've ever laughed, truly. But I was fucking dying. And then we decided that, so prior to this, we had made a pact that if we were ever to go to the bathroom or go do anything outside of the movie theater, we would buddy system, right? We would have to go buddy system. So that was our like deal. We had done that for every time we done psychedelics. Like, there's always buddy system, you know? Which honestly kind of makes sense. Like, buddy system's kind of imperative. So I'm assigned to my cousin. So he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I follow him down to the bathroom. And as soon as we walk in, there's these kids. I mean, they couldn't have been older than 16. Like, 10 deep in the bathroom. And they are having a fucking blast in the bathroom. Like, they're going to town in there, dude. And I'm wondering why they're so stoked. Like, because they're like high-fiving in the bathroom. Like, they're doing some weird stuff in the bathroom. Like, they're getting a little too excited to be in the bathroom of a movie theater. So we don't really understand what's happening. So we're just kind of standing there like, huh, that's cool. And I look very similar to how I did back then. So I was probably wearing like a 2XL tie-dye t-shirt and like cut off skinny jean shorts and like Vans with no socks. And so I'm just like, huh? And these kids are like hyping each other up. They're high-fiving. Yeah, bro. Hell yeah, man. And it dawns on me pretty immediately that they're fucking wasted, right? I'm just like, oh no, dude, this is the last thing we need is wasted teenagers. But then I'm like, you know what? We're going to look so chill in comparison that it's fine. So I go to use the stall instead of the urinal, and I see an empty bottle, about yay big, so a little pint, of Captain Morgan. I'm like, oh, okay. They drank Captain Morgan. That's cool. I go in the next stall, another thing of Captain Morgan. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. And then I go in the next one, another thing of Captain Morgan. Okay, that's weird. All 5 stalls had a little pint of Captain Morgan. Empty. So these kids went in there and cashed like 5 pints of Captain Morgan. You know, the little ones in the gas station are like that big. They probably cost like $9, but then their like older brother that bought them for them probably charged them 20. You know, that's basically what was going on. Hilarious. Me and my cousin dying, dude. So, and when they leave after they're laughing, high-fiving in the bathroom and shit, me and my cousin take over. We're fucking dying in the bathroom. We're laughing so hard, dude. We're staring in the mirror, which is never a good idea. We're like staring in the mirror, laughing at each other in the mirror. This fucking older dude, he had to have been like 40 or 50, right? Like, older. I mean, he had the little Dockers on, you know, the slip-on Skechers, little polo shirt. He comes in there with his little kid. He was probably seeing some dumb little kid movie. And then there's these two, I don't want to say grown men, but a teenager and like a damn near grown-ass man, both wearing tie-dye, dude, just staring at each other in the mirror, laughing. He looks disgusted, dude. Like, he looks so disgusted. I don't think he knew what was going on, but I think he probably just thought we were doing some gay shit, to be honest. Because, like, he looks, like, scared for his child. He's, like, kind of weirded out. We're like, oh, shit. So we go. Back to the movie. Rest of the movie, very uneventful. Very uneventful. Movie ends. You know, we still got about 3 hours worth of trip because we actually had timed it really, really well. Movie's only, like, an hour and a half long or something. So we're like, whatever. We got about 3 hours worth of trip. So there's this place in town called, I can say it because it's defunct, but it was called Crazy Penguin. Right, Crazy Penguin was a place that doesn't exist anymore. Like, this kind of establishment straight up doesn't exist anymore. This is a place you could go pay an hourly rate, and then you could go play video games in it. So it had a bunch of consoles and shit. It had, like, Xbox room, and then, like, a PlayStation room, and then, like, a PC area. So it was kind of like a LAN planet or something of that nature. And I don't know if they really have those anymore, but they did at the time. So we went there, and we're bugging out. Immediately, the little cashier lady is like not pleased with us because she's asking us what are, like, because you have to do a gamer tag to get in. Like, you don't have to put your own gamer tag, but you just have to make like a little code word, kind of like what you would have to do at like a laser tag place before. So, you know, they're asking us what it is, and we're doing like Black Bag 420 and like all this other dumb shit. And she's like, no, you can't do that. She's like, you can't do that. And we keep trying to do stuff that involve mushrooms and stuff. And she's getting so frustrated. And it's like, okay, whatever. So we're like, we're going to play some video games. We're going to ride the rest of this trip out, and then we'll go. Like, AJ was getting picked up. So we didn't have a ride home anymore because he was about to leave. He had a thick white woman to go conquer. So, you know, we didn't have the ride home anymore. So we needed to lay low at the Crazy Penguin, and we needed to chill out for at least the remainder of the trip, which would have been about probably 2 hours at this point. So we just start playing random games. We're trying to play Guitar Hero. We cannot play Guitar Hero. It's so hard. And we're on like easy mode too, and we cannot do it. Like, we're trying our ass off too. This isn't just us like giggling and then being like, aha, yeah, dude, we like suck at this game. No, dude, we're in full try hard mode. Like, I'm sitting there, I'm in like a power stance. Like, I'm dead serious. I'm in like one of these. Like, I'm in one of these like Eddie from fucking Stranger Things. Like, I'm like doing this. I'm like trying so hard. I got the knee bent. Like, I'm going hard. I'm trying to slay this shit. And I forgot what I was playing. I don't even know the song, but I think it was like Psychobilly Freakout or something. I was playing something and I was trying so hard. And there was actually a small crowd gathered because they thought I must have been doing this for a joke or something, but I was not. I was dead serious and I was locked in, dude. I was not losing. And I'm not kidding. I think I failed like 25% of the way through the song on like easy mode, and like these teenagers made fun of me for at least the next 30 minutes. Like, they sat next to us and they're like, you really suck at Guitar Hero. And I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna let that slide. I'm gonna let that slide. It's all good. They were just recklessly taunting me for sucking at Guitar Hero, and I'm just like, whatever. So my cousin decides that it's going to be a good idea to play Armored Core 5, I believe is what he picked up. So he starts grinding this Armored Core game. And you know what? This game fucking sucks, dude. Armored Core sucks. I'm sorry. It's not good. But some of the most beautiful cinematics in the game, at least from my memory. Like, phenomenal. There's a robot army just fighting another robot army. There's this fucking giant sky beam or something, and they're like trying to destroy the sky beam. I think it's like a cosmic elevator or something. We are captivated, dude. Like, I'm bugging the fuck out. I'm like, yo, this is sick. Like, this is the greatest game ever made, dude. We're playing on like these like 15-inch TVs. Like, at least the 15-inch TV. So we have a great time there. We're having a blast. Well, we made a little bit of a mistake. The mistake being is we did not pay enough money to ride out the trip because you had to pay like an hourly rate, and we ran out of time, so they made us leave. No biggie. You know, we were starting to come down a little bit, so it's not going to be a big deal. We'll just hang out in the car for a bit. We're on a nice part of town. You know, my town's not exactly a safe place, but we're in a nice part of town. We're good. You know, we'll just hang out in the car for a bit. We'll listen to some music. We'll ride this trip out, and then we'll go home. Like, it's no big deal. So we played. This sounds so bad now that I say this out loud. And I mean, at the time, it sounded bad too. So we decided that eventually we were going to drive home, right? But we were still kind of tripping. So what we did was we played rock, paper, scissors for who had to drive home, because in our minds, the person who won rock, paper, scissors was the most sober. Do not ever do this. Never do this. Using a game of chance to determine who would be the most sober is a guaranteed recipe for failure. So I win, of course. I win, and it's fucked up, is I never win rock, paper, scissors. Like, I'm like notoriously bad at this game for some reason. I don't know what it is. So I win, so I have to drive. So I hop in the Ford Taurus, and we're not leaving yet. I turn the key over, I start putting on some hippie jams, and we just hang out. We're all just like smoking cigs, it's raining, it's like a nice, cool fall evening. We're having a blast. It's still a little bit hot, because I think it was like August, like, or something of that nature. It was like a hot September maybe. So we're just kicking it, dude. We're listening to straight up jam band music, dude. We're smoking cigs. We are having just a great time. We didn't talk at all. Like, no talking. We were all just straight vibing, dude. Hanging out. 45 minutes goes by. Crazy Penguin closes. Now, because we only know this because we saw a bunch of people come. They got in their cars. They left. So then I'm like, oh shit, we should probably leave too, because, like, you know, it's closing, whatever. We don't want to be in this parking lot after it's closed, which is stupid. Like, it's totally fine to be in the parking lot after it closes. No one cares. So we're like, all right, let's go. Well, I go to turn the key. It's not starting. And I'm like, huh, dude, that's weird. Why is the car not starting? Chuck, why is your car not working? Why is your car broken? You broke your car, right? Turns out what had happened was, when I went to turn the car on, I didn't actually turn it on. I just went forward a little bit and just turned the battery on instead of actually turning the car on. And I had the AC going, so I actually just drained the entirety of the battery, right? So we were stuck. And it's now starting to rain. And we realized that we're going to have to go into Crazy Penguin and try to get this lady who previously hated us to maybe see if they had some jumper cables. It turns out the lady did not really hate us as much as we had anticipated, because she ended up having the jumper cables. And she's like, okay, I don't know how to use them though. Could you do it? And we're like, yeah, my cousin's like, I'm a car guy. I got this. Like, yeah, absolutely, dude. Let's do it. So we're going to go jump the car. She pulls up her Saturn up, and she's like, okay, you guys can jump it. I'll hang out in the car. We're like, all right, it's like pretty pouring at this point. We're jumping a car on mushrooms. Not good. Not good at all. Not a good scene, for sure. So everything's going fine for now, but we made two catastrophic mistakes. Catastrophic mistake number one. We hooked up the battery to the on car prior to the one that was dead. Don't do that. I'm not a car guy, so this is just wisdom that I think is correct. Tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know. But, like, we hooked up the car that was on while it was still on, not the car that was dead first. Bad idea, number one. Number two, operating these things on boomers, terrible idea. But my cousin drops one of the battery connections, right? It smacks against the other one, creating a shower of sparks. So just an absolute shower of sparks. And we are not concerned at all. We all collectively are like, whoa, dude. Oh my God. This lady comes out of the car freaking out. She's like, oh my God, are you guys okay? Like, are you okay? And we're like, yeah, we're good. And then I look at my cousin and I know what he's about to do, because I could see it in his face. He looks all fucking devilish, and I know what he's about to do. I know he's about to do some dumb shit. So what does he do? He starts clacking them together, creating sparks in the rain in the middle of this parking lot. So if you were to drive by this parking lot, you would just see this guy out there just going, just creating sparks, and then two other guys smoking cigarettes, just astounded. This lady starts freaking out, dude. She's like, oh my God, oh, are you guys okay? Like, she thinks we're gonna die, dude. And my cousin's giggling, like, he thinks it's hilarious. We're fucking dying. None of us think this is a bad idea at all for some reason. Like, we're all thinking this is great. So finally, we get the car started. We thank her vigorously. We're like, thank you. We're like asking her dumb questions, like, hey, thank you so much. Do you want a cig? No. Okay. Are you sure you don't want a cig? No. All right. Do you want $5? No. Okay. Just dumb shit, basically. So it is obviously determined that I am not able to drive because I couldn't even figure out how to turn the car on, apparently. So I'm not allowed to drive anymore, I guess. I guess. I did win rock, paper, scissors, so I find that to be fucked up. So my friend Chuck's driving. Now at this point, trip is pretty much over, right? Visuals are gone. Mentally, you still feel weird on mushrooms, towards the end. Visuals are gone. I'm still saying that it's a bad idea to drive, but you're not like as impaired as you would have been like the previous hour. You're just mentally kind of checked out at this point. So we're driving and we're vibing. We're just listening to more music, hanging out and stuff, smoking cigs. And like everything's going perfect. And my best friend is a notoriously phenomenal driver. Like he may be a little reckless at times, but he is a great driver. Right? Never in my life have I felt afraid to be in the car with him. Like I always feel like he's going to hold it down no matter what. Like it's not like my son's a stock car driver or anything, but he's just a really safe driver. It's cool. We're driving, everything's cool. We're quiet for like 10 minutes at this point. All of a sudden, he's, one arm on the steering wheel just posted, dude. Crushing it. He snaps back into reality like, whoa! And then like jerks the wheel a little bit and he looks panicked, right? Like, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on, dude? I'm like, yo, are you all good? Like, what's up? Like, what's going on? He's like, I forgot I was driving the car. And we're like, whoa, 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 whoa. So we're like, dude, pull over, pull over, pull over. So now my cousin has to drive. So that's the third person that's had to drive the car now. He tells us he's fine, which I believe he was because he drove completely fine. Though we did pick the guy with the suspended driver's license to finish off the drive. Maybe not the best idea in the world. But, good times. We went and dropped off my cousin. My buddy ended up dropping me off at home. And that was it. And then that next weekend is when we did the 2 CI. So it was all good, Moral of the story. 2 morals of the story. Do not eat 10 grams of mushrooms under really any circumstances. Never a good time. You don't need to trip that hard. Number 2, don't play rock, paper, scissors to determine who's the most sober to drive home. That's really fucking stupid and will lead to probably a much worse result than what we had happen. Number 3, do not play with a live battery cable under any circumstances. It's a bad idea. Yes, it may look pretty cool, especially when all the showers of electricity are multiplied by 15 due to the psychedelics. Yes, sure. Is it a good idea? No, absolutely not. God, that was so stupid. We were so dumb.